When the world was young, and the sea sang beneath the gaze of eternal skies, there dwelt Aeolus, keeper of the winds, in his bronze-walled halls upon the floating isle of Aeolia. The hour was twilight, and the year was counted not in numbers but in the turning of seasons, when the sun lingered long upon the edge of the world, and the air was heavy with the scent of salt and storm. Aeolus sat upon his throne of polished stone, his hands resting upon the chains that bound the roaring tempests, and his eyes were deep as caverns where thunder sleeps. Around him the winds murmured like restless spirits, eager to break their bonds and race across the earth. Far away, upon the foam-kissed shores of Cyprus, Aphrodite walked in gardens bright with roses, her feet brushing petals that glowed like embers in the fading light. The hour was soft, the sky a veil of gold and crimson, and the sea lay calm as glass beneath the breath of evening. She was the goddess of love, born of the sea's eternal embrace, and her heart was tender as dawn. Yet even in her realm of beauty, whispers reached her ears, whispers of storms that tore lovers apart, of ships swallowed by wrathful waves, of prayers rising from broken hearts. And so her thoughts turned to Aeolus, the lord of winds, whose power could scatter joy like leaves before the gale. It was upon a night veiled in silver when Aphrodite came to Aeolia, her chariot drawn by doves, whose wings shimmered like moonlight. The stars burned bright above the wine-dark sea, and the air was cool with the breath of distant storms. Aeolus beheld her as she entered his halls, her presence like the hush before dawn, and his voice rolled forth like the rumble of far-off thunder. Why do you come, O goddess of love, to the house of storms? What seeks your heart in the realm of chains and tempests? Her gaze was soft, yet her words bore the weight of sorrow. I come for the sake of those who love, for the sailors who trust the sea, for the hearts that dream beneath the stars. Your winds are mighty, Aeolus, but they are cruel. They tear the sails of hope, they scatter the vows of lovers, they drown the songs of joy. I ask not for silence, but for mercy. Let the storm sleep when love calls upon the deep. Aeolus rose, his cloak swirling like a cloud, and his laughter shook the bronze walls. Mercy, you say? The winds are not mine alone, O Aphrodite. They serve the will of fate, the decree of gods who weave the tapestry of time. Yet I am their keeper, and my chains hold their fury. You ask for calm seas, but know this, without storm the world would wither. The earth needs the breath of gales, the clash of thunder, the cleansing rain. Would you unmake the balance for the sake of fragile hearts? Her voice trembled like a harp in the wind. I would not unmake the world, Aeolus. I would weave harmony, where love may bloom and life may thrive. Let the storms rage when wrath is due, but grant the lovers safe passage, grant the sailors a gentle breeze when hope is their compass. Is this not a gift worthy of the gods? Aeolus pondered, his brow dark as a storm front, and silence filled the hall like a gathering cloud. At last he spoke, his tone deep as the roots of mountains. You ask much, yet your words are fair. I will grant your plea, but know this, every calm must pay its price. When you call for peace upon the waves, you shall give in return a token of love, a vow that binds not men but gods. Swear that when the winds sleep for your sake, you will walk among mortals and kindle their hearts with hope, that their songs may rise to the heavens and honour the power that guards them. Aphrodite bowed her head, her hair flowing like molten gold, and her voice was soft as falling dew. I swear it, Aeolus. By the foam that bore me, by the stars that crown the night, I pledge my grace to those who love, that their joy shall honour the winds that spared them. Then Aeolus lifted his chains, and the tempests roared like lions in their lair, yet they did not break free. He spoke words of binding, and the gales sank into slumber, their breath fading to whispers upon the sea. The night grew calm, the stars burned steady, and the waves lay smooth as polished glass. Aphrodite departed in her chariot of doves, her heart light as dawn, and the world knew peace upon the waters. Yet peace is never eternal, for the wheel of time turns, and the balance must hold. There came days when wrath stirred in Aeolus's halls, when the gods quarrelled and the earth groaned beneath their strife. Then the chains rattled, and the storms leapt forth, their manes streaming with lightning, their voices wild as war. Ships shattered upon the rocks, and cries rose to the heavens. But amid the fury, there are moments of grace, when Aphrodite walked among men, her touch healing the wounds of loss, her smile kindling hope where despair had taken root. And so the pact endured, a fragile thread woven through the fabric of fate, binding love and tempest in a dance as old as time. Thus the tale of Aeolus and Aphrodite lives in the breath of every wind, in the hush of every calm, in the sigh of lovers upon the shore. When the sea lies still beneath the moon, men say the goddess has spoken, and the keeper of storms has bowed to her plea. And when the gales howl and the waves devour the stars, they whisper that the price has come due, and the balance holds. For in the heart of the world, love and storm are one, and their song shall echo until the last dawn fades upon the edge of eternity. Seasons turned like the slow wheel of heaven, and the pact between Aeolus and Aphrodite wove its thread through the tapestry of mortal lives. Yet the gods are never idle, and their whims stir the world as winds stir the sea. It was in the age when kings raised marble halls upon the shores of the Aegean, when the moon rode high and silver upon the wine-dark waters, that a mortal voyage set the stage for a trial of love and tempest. The hour was dawn, pale and tender, when the fleet of Altheon, Prince of Thessaly, slipped from the harbour of Pylos. His sails gleamed white as swans' wings, and his heart burned with longing, for he sailed to claim his bride from the Isle of Lesbos, where roses bloomed and songs drifted like perfume upon the air. The sea lay calm, its breath soft as a lover's sigh, and the sky was a dome of gold, promising peace. Yet in the bronze halls of Aeolia, the chains of the winds trembled, and their voices rose like wolves in the dark. Aeolus sat upon his throne, his gaze fixed upon the horizon, where clouds gathered like armies. He felt the pulse of fate in the marrow of the world, and his voice rolled forth like distant thunder. The balance strains, he murmured, and the storm hungers for release. Shall I hold them still, or let them taste the freedom they crave? His words stirred the shadows, and the gales howled in their prison, their breath hot with wrath. Far away, upon the slopes of Mount Ida, Aphrodite heard the cry of mortal hearts. She walked among groves where blossoms glowed like embers, her fingers trailing upon petals wet with dew, and her thoughts turned to the vow she had sworn. She saw Altheon's fleet upon the glassy sea, saw the hope that shone in his eyes, and her heart ached with the sweetness of his dream. She rose upon the breath of doves, her chariot swift as light, and sped across the heavens to Aeolia. The hour was high noon when she entered the halls of storm, her presence like a shaft of sunlight piercing the gloom. Aeolus beheld her, and his brow darkened like a thunderhead. "You come again, O goddess of love," he said, his voice deep as the roots of mountains. "Do you seek to bind my hands with chains of mercy? The winds rage, and their fury is just. Why should I deny them the feast of ruin?" Her eyes shone like stars upon the tide, and her voice was soft yet strong. "I come not to bind, but to plead for harmony. There sails a prince whose heart is pure, whose love is a flame that honours the gods. Shall his dream be shattered upon the rocks, his song drowned in the howl of wrath? Let the storm sleep, Aeolus, and let love triumph upon the deep." Aeolus rose, his cloak swirling like a tempest, and his laughter shook the bronze walls. "You speak of love as if it were a crown for kings, a balm for wounds, a law for gods. Yet love is but a spark, and the storm is eternal. Why should I bow to the whim of hearts that beat and break like waves upon the shore?" Her voice trembled like a harp in the wind, yet her words bore the weight of heaven. "Because love is the thread that binds the world, Aeolus. Without it, the earth is but a tomb, and the sea a grave. You are the keeper of winds, but I am the keeper of hope. Shall we war until the stars fall, or shall we weave a peace that honours both our powers?" Silence fell, heavy as the hush before lightning. Aeolus stood like a mountain carved of storm, his thoughts deep as caverns where thunder sleeps. At last, he spoke, his tone grave as fate. I will grant your plea, but the price shall be paid in kind. When the winds sleep for your sake, you shall walk among mortals and teach them the song of gratitude, that their voices may rise to the heavens and honor the chains that spared them. Aphrodite bowed her head, her hair flowing like molten gold, and her voice was soft as falling rain. I swear it, Aeolus, by the foam that bore me, by the stars that crown the night, I pledge my grace to those who love, that their joy shall honor the winds that spared them. Then Aeolus lifted his chains, and the gales sank into slumber, their breath fading to whispers upon the sea. The clouds melted like smoke, and the sky burned blue as a sapphire. Altheon's fleet sailed on, its sails swelling with gentle breezes, and the song of oars rose like a hymn upon the waters. He reached the Isle of Roses, and his bride came forth, her eyes bright as dawn, her voice sweet as the murmur of streams. Their vows were spoken beneath the arch of heaven, and Aphrodite smiled, her heart light as the breath of spring. Yet peace is never eternal, for the wheel of time turns, and the balance must hold. There came days when wrath stirred in Aeolus' halls, when the gods quarrelled and the earth groaned beneath their strife. Then the chains rattled, and the storms leapt forth, their manes streaming with lightning, their voices wild as war. Ships shattered upon the rocks, and cries rose to the heavens. But amid the fury, there were moments of grace, when Aphrodite walked among men, her touch healing the wounds of loss, her smile kindling hope where despair had taken root. And so the pact endured, a fragile thread woven through the fabric of fate, binding love and tempest in a dance as old as time. Thus the tale of Aeolus and Aphrodite lives in the breath of every wind, in the hush of every calm, in the sigh of lovers upon the shore. When the sea lies still beneath the moon, men say the goddess has spoken, and the keeper of storms has bowed to her plea. And when the gales howl and the waves devour the stars, they whisper that the price has come due, and the balance holds. For in the heart of the world, love and storm are one, and their song shall echo until the last dawn fades upon the edge of eternity.